This video has been sponsored by Verve. Head on over to verve.co/Austin Eruption or click the link in the description below to get a 30-day free trial of Verve Premium. Cartoon Network is a bit of an anomaly. It wasn't always uncommon for TV stations to run different blocks of programming, especially in the 90s and 2000s, but I always felt that Cartoon Network was unique because of the wide array of demographics they went for. On any day, you might see classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons from Boomerang, the latest anime dubs on Toonami, uncut versions of that on the Midnight Run, the newest Dexter's Laboratory on Cartoon Friday, a classic animated movie on the Cartoon Theater, or some messed up stuff you shouldn't have seen on Adult Swim. Can't forget those ads of the elderly swimming. I'll never understand how Quick Draw McGraw could directly follow an episode of Cowboy Bebop, but actually that makes sense. Bang. Needless to say, as a kid, Cartoon Network was my TV station of choice, except when Digimon was on. Actually, I liked Fox Kids a lot, but yeah, Cartoon Network was dope. The stuff that aired when I was young definitely shaped mine and probably a lot of y'all's tastes. Having a ton of anime come on the second I'd get home from school helped, but it was probably mostly Tenchi. Ah yes. But what I want to talk about today, what else, is the licensed video games. Similarly to Nickelodeon, all of the unique stuff on Cartoon Network wasn't safe from the video game trap. In fact, the pool might be deeper considering the plethora of Hanna-Barbera games. That means yes, I'm counting things like the Flintstones and the Jetsons as Cartoon Network. Not Toonami though, that would be weird. Ah yes, Dot Hack, my favorite Cartoon Network game.
So yo, it's Austin, and today we're gonna be diving into the amazing world of bad Cartoon Network games. Gumball's safe for now. But for our first game, I want to talk about one of the very first shows I remember watching on Cartoon Network. Now, there's no Cartoon Planet video game, but there is one for SWAT Kats.
There was a brief period in my life when I thought that SWAT Kats was the coolest thing I'd ever seen, and how could you not? The subtitle of the show was The Radical Squadron. This was the most 90s thing in existence. We followed Jake and Chase, two ex-cops of Mega Cat City who were discharged from the force and decided to become vigilante superheroes. They built the Turbo Cat, and all I ever wanted as a kid was a Turbo Cat toy, but it didn't exist. Damn you, Toys R Us. Using their secret identities, Razor and T-Bone, they dedicate their lives to defending the city from the evil Dark Cat. It was rad having them fly around and blow up shit, and then be weird nerds without their Batman eye masks on. This show was definitely not at all responsible for creating any furries, not even in the slightest. Get it? She's Callie. Because it's Calico Cat. Oh.
Considering just about everything was getting a licensed game back in the day, it should come as no surprise that there's a SNES SWAT Kats game. But also, I'm surprised that there's a SWAT Kats game. And also, it sucks!
This here is SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron, the video game. Before we dive into this, I want to let everyone know that this game easily goes for over $100 loose. Upwards of $200 complete in box. So just remember that, okay? SWAT Kats is a platformer made by Japanese studio AIM, who was responsible for the Inspector Gadget video game. It's a great start. I find it extremely strange that a Japanese studio made the video game for an extremely American cartoon franchise, but whatever, that's fine. When you boot it up, you get a pretty decent SNES version of the theme song. Sounds pretty good. Actually, the music is one of the cooler things about this game. Each level has a track that sounds pretty great. It's just everything else where this falls apart. You get a choice of playing as T-Bone or Razor through a handful of levels that you get to play in any order. Each of them has a different main ability they can use. T-Bone has bombs that he can use to blow up certain walls. Razor has a jetpack that he can use to fly through levels. A lot of the levels are designed to make use of this, so you'll be going through different paths depending on what character you play as. However, the jetpack is full of max jank, so I don't recommend.
I'm hanging out with my friend
Razor. You're about to watch SWAT Kats.
Look over there. And it starts right now.
The game itself is kinda just slow. Your movement feels real chunky compared to other platformers of the era. I mean, the grand and powerful 3 frames of walking animation don't help in that situation. It's even slower when you're crawling. Editor's note, acapella vocals from Big and Chunky with the arrangement of Baby Shark.
I like 'em big. Nope, I like 'em
You have a ranged attack as well as a few combo attacks, but pulling those off is a total pain in the ass. Some of them can only be done while in a running animation while then inputting a combo. And to run, you have to hold down a button and then double tap a direction. Normally it's just one of these, but I mean, sure, let's do both. That way you really feel like you're running. But where's the Turbo Cat, you might be asking? Well, this game won't disappoint there. Sometimes in levels, you'll have a shooter section which is done in glorious mode 7. Except, what if I told you this was designed by an actual asshole? They were like, okay, let's make one big picture with like a couple of frames of animation and fucking rotate it around constantly each time.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Never had motion sickness. Well, first time for everyone, kid. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that this game has RPG elements. You see that little level on the top left? Well, items and enemies net you experience points that increase your life and attack values. If you pause the game, you can see your current XP, but there's no indication as to how much you need. That means if you want to get through the levels properly, you have to play them in the specific order and then go back and grind. Your max level's pretty high, and you're not gonna come anywhere close just playing each level once. Granted, you can make it through without needing to level up, but you'll have crappy weapons and end up doing this. Other than that, this game just has a couple of super infuriating moments. There's a bit where you have to climb up this bug tower, but there's a thing coming towards you and it's a one-hit kill. It's not very lenient on time, and at the end you have to jump from wall to wall, which isn't the most responsive maneuver in this game. Spent too much time here. Also, this boss. I died on this dude so many times. You have to run at him and hit him before he disappears. You have to wait for him to do an attack, hope it doesn't hit you, and then get in, but it still took forever. Turns out I just needed to do some grinding in this 2D platformer. Sick. Remember the part when I said this was over $100 for a loose copy? Yeah, those people are insane. I love the Swat Kats show, and I think it's aged well, but this game is not that. I'm just mad we didn't get a reboot of this with the Hanna-Barbera Beyond line of comics. Imagine a modern grimdark Swat Kats would fit right in there with the Scooby apocalypse.
Next up, we're gonna hop a little bit into the future, into like the late 90s and early 2000s, when Cartoon Network was having a bit of a renaissance. Some of you guys might know that as the Cartoon Fridays kind of thing that was going on, and there were like a lot of cartoons, which also meant that there were a lot of video games. None of them good.
Now, I was always a Toonami guy, but Cartoon Fridays would grab my attention shortly after. You could catch a new episode of Johnny Bravo and Ed, Edd and Eddy, or a rerun of Courage the Cowardly Dog. This was Cartoon Network's flagship blog for all of their original, or Hanna-Barbera, programming. This is since, like, super dead, but a majority of the long-running and older premiere shows on the network originated here. They were building up a brand, dog. So of course, while they were in their prime, Cartoon Network was gonna take their shows and try to turn them into video games.
PlayStation 1 was home to all kinds of licensed schlock, so first up on the chopping block is Dexter's Laboratory, Mandark's Lab. And a price sticker, sorry. This is what we get. This is the quality you get from me!
I think I've seen the episode of Dexter where he learns French like 50 times. To this day, I think omelette du fromage is sexy as hell. But if you never got a chance to see Dexter's Laboratory, I feel sorry for you. While it might have been a little slapstick, I feel like it was the perfect representation of what having a sibling was like when you're a kid. Unfortunately, none of that translates to this video game. Some of y'all might be familiar with BAM Entertainment. They were only around for a handful of years, but they published so many licensed games. You got a cartoon? Bam! You got a movie? Bam! You got a gacked? Bam, bam! Do you want me to throw gacked? Whoa! BAM Entertainment had a plethora of Dexter's Laboratory games, but someone gave this to me at MagFest a couple years ago, so we're just gonna roll with this.
What's the matter, Dexter?
Ugh, gross. Mandark's Lab is a minigame collection at heart. There's level hubs where you have to go through each minigame in order to move on to the next level. You got like a first-person rail shooter, a spaceship shooter, a racing minigame, and Dance Dance Revolution. You also have to search for hidden blueprints, which basically has you blindly running around each hub looking for something that you can't see. There's a lot of neat ideas here, but unfortunately, Mandark's Lab is kinda just poorly made. The games themselves feel like the bare minimum of what functions as a game. game. There's a kart racing section which has potential, but it's extremely easy, and I'd be hard-pressed to see anyone lose this, even wee babbies. The rhythm minigames seem to barely function properly, and the precise timing to hit the notes doesn't feel consistent. Not to mention, multiple types of games repeat several times. Considering this game's like an hour long, yeah. No, that's fine. Ship it. They'll buy all the license, schlock. The germ chasing minigame's just awful. It's like Dex is moving on ice constantly and obstacles may or may not hurt you. You're supposed to kill it, but I thought it was a race for like way too long. That's what happens when you don't read. You would think there would be a final minigame of sorts, like a final boss or something, but it just ends after whatever last game you pick. It's such a waste of a cool license, but you know, I guess we got a lot of other Dexter games from BAM too. Bam, bam, bam! Mandark's Lab is trash, but I will say that the older I get, the hotter Dexter's mom gets. Just saying.
We're not done with BAM Entertainment today. You could probably make an entire video based off just their Cartoon Network video games, but I am going to move a little bit away from Dexter's Laboratory so we can talk about the Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction.
This is Powerpuff Girls. No chemical extraction, I guess. In fact, I can't find the words chemical extraction anywhere in the credits or the loading screens. That's always a great sign. Chemical Extraction is a Power Stone clone. You heard me right. A really, really crappy one. Not only does it look as awful as the previous game, but it's also broken to shit. The quality of the audio is like off the charts bad. Everything sounds bit crushed and not in a like,
Wise from your grave.
charming manner, just like it's clipping with inconsistent levels. Trying to learn any combos is completely useless because they're useless. All you have to do to win is throw objects, grab the Chemical X potions, and use your supers, which, by the way, are stupid overpowered and miss half the time. Even the AI knows, it's all they try to do. The Powerpuff AI was just like, hey,
what is the quickest way to victory? Do that, only that, bitch.
all you get for beating a campaign is a new super attack for whatever Powerpuff Girl you're playing as. All the other characters are versus mode only, and for some reason you can't make Bubbles, Blossom, or Buttercup fight against each other, which is kinda lame. I mean, I get it, but like, it's a fighting game? Mojo Jojo's the final boss of the story, and he's ridiculously difficult for some reason. I died to this monkey like 10 times. You better get your item grabbing skills on point, because if you don't, you're screwed. This dude makes Seth look easy. But yeah, that's Powerpuff Girls. No subtitle. For some reason, I wrote Rising Zan Easter egg down on my notes, and I'm not sure why, but here.
I got one more game from this era, and it's kind of a doozy. Do you ever see like a combination of words that gets you super excited? You know, 3 things put together, and you're like, wow, I want to play that. Well, similarly to the Bad Nickelodeon Games video, we have another kart racer. Let's hop on over to the PlayStation 2 so we can talk about Cartoon Network Racing.
I wanted Cartoon Network Racing to be good. I really did. It's got a lot going for it. It's got all the top tier franchises of the time. Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Powerpuff Girls. I Am Weasel? Seems like a weird choice considering this thing was out in 2006. Wait, 06? By the time this came out, the only show from this still getting new episodes was the Powerpuff Girls. 2005 and 6 had like Megas XLR, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Hi Hi Puffy Ami Yumi, the list goes on. Why in the world is I Am Weasel here? There's a lot of questions I could ask, like why are the Powerpuff Girls driving? That's illegal. How is Johnny Bravo steering? But here's the most important. Were you aware that Cartoon Network Racing was made by U-Technic? Solely responsible for the one and only Days Gone. I mean, Ride to Hell, Retribution. The one with the fully covered up sex scenes were in charge of making a Cartoon Network themed Mario Kart Double Dash clone. Hell yeah. Y'all know me, I love the kart racers. Is Cartoon Network Racing a good kart racer? No. Not even close. One of the main challenges a developer might face in designing an entertaining and accessible kart racer is the controls. Does it feel good? Do the vehicles, even when the player is just the worst, generally move forward? If your answer to these problems is this, It's time to give up, especially if your studio specializes in racing games. Cartoon Network Racing is pretty deceptive. It appears to have a semblance of a budget at first. The character models have this pretty decent looking thick cell shading. Each of the franchises has 2 themed levels, and there's a plethora of original stages. The Mario Kart Double Dashness is a solid addition as well. You can combine any 2 characters to make the racer of your choice, even if it looks terrifying. Yo, why you so thick? I like that each character has different abilities you can use when they're your assist driver. You even unlock full-ass episodes of each show represented, but don't dig in for more than like 5 seconds, otherwise everything's fucked. Tournaments are your #1 main choice of gameplay, but whenever you finish one, there's just like a spreadsheet of the results. Playing this on original hardware has a ton of late-era PS2 blur and frame rate issues. Some of the courses are so terribly designed that you'll spend nearly the entire time trying to correct your course of just going forward. Try recovering from this.
This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping.
I can handle kart racers being dumb, janky kart racers, but this is just the worst. Definitely gonna make all of my friends play this.
So a minute ago I mentioned Nickelodeon kart racers, and it should come to no one's surprise that the publisher of that game, Game Mill Entertainment, is back again with another runaway hit. Let's talk about the newest game in this video, Cartoon Network Battle Crashers. Ass game. Ass butt.
Game Mill Entertainment's becoming the new BAM these days, aren't they? It's just licenses after licenses of notoriously horrible trash. This is Cartoon Network Battle Crashers, developed by Magic Pockets. They are responsible for Ants Extreme Racing, also Catwoman. You ever played a beat 'em up before? Well, then you know exactly what to expect. Except you don't, because Battle Crashers somehow takes a great concept and makes it probably worse than the new Shaq Fu. How? Backtracking. That's right, we got backtracking in a beat 'em up. Now I'm all for RPG elements in my side scrollers. The Scott Pilgrim video games and older examples like River City Ransom are shining examples of exactly what to do. However, what Scott Pilgrim doesn't have you do is complete a level, have an NPC tell you to go back to the previous level to talk to another NPC, only for him to tell you to go back to the level you were just in, where you can now pass through the gates of padded progression. I'm able to tolerate like some of this nonsense, but I don't even know who most of these dudes are.
I only really know Adventure Time and Steven Universe, so I guess I'm getting too old for this shit, and that's alarming?
Steven Universe doesn't deserve this. Neither do Jake and Finn. These 2 characters are way better than the rest of the cast though. Like, seriously, Clarence sucks. Yo, how about micromanaging status ailments in a kid's game? Whenever you switch characters, they're still poisoned, which is just like, why? Following in the footsteps of Nickelodeon kart racing, Battle Crashers lacks any kind of voice acting, making everything feel uncanny valley. Sure, it looks nice at moments, but that's about all this has going for it. The PS4 game icon's not even interesting. Like, come on, you have art. That's the easiest part. Also, Corn Love.
Alright, it's time to fucking rewind. Clearly, I'm too old for all these new age cartoons with their widescreen aspect ratios and diversity. Let's take this video all the way back to prehistoric times. You know what I'm talking about, the PlayStation 1. I mean, Fred Flintstone Bedrock Bowling Game 3.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I watched so much Flintstones growing up. It was one of those shows that kind of felt like you could always find an episode airing somewhere. It's also one of those franchises that's been adapted into video games across several generations. We could make a thing solely covering Flintstones video games, considering you've got stuff from the PlayStation 2 all the way back to that horrible Master System game. Yeah. But today we're talking about Flintstones Bedrock Bowling. Unable to get off at work to go throw balls, Freddy Boy accidentally summons the Great Gazoo, who turns work into a bowling alley. One where you are the ball. It's like a hybrid between a racing and a bowling video game, which to its credit is extremely unique. As you navigate these lanes, you attempt to grab collectibles and knock over as many pins as you can. It's just too bad that, I mean... Watching the evolution of graphics over the last 29 years has been a treat. For long-standing franchises like this, you'll get to see a beloved character rendered and drawn in so many different styles. Take, for example, Pebbles. I was thrilled to see her in this game. It, really is a treat. This shit's kind of like amazing when you think about it. I don't think I've ever played something so unpleasant on the eyes. All of the colors are obnoxiously blown out. The draw distance is sporadic. The frame rate's shy, but working on it. And I mean, what else do you want me to say? Everything on the screen is terrible. I beat this 3 times. It's only like 20 minutes long, but I still did. I don't hate myself in the slightest.
Well done.
Is this the worst Flintstones game? So far, yes. But the well is oh so deep. I'll reach back into the trash bag one day, but for now, let's have a gay old time with a dollar store yabba dabba doo.
Yabba dabba doo.
This might have been the worst game that I played on this channel if it weren't for what's coming up next. In fact, this is almost as bad as the Master System one I played a while back, but what's coming up next, it dwarfs that by a lot. Let's talk about everyone's favorite dirty hippie, Captain Planet, for the NES.
Coming straight from the brain of the wrestling and media mogul himself, Ted Turner, Captain Planet is pretty self-explanatory. Take care of the environment, idiot, or these 5 kids will roll up on your ass and summon Rem Lazar to end your life. So yeah, you can't recycle pizza boxes, Mark. This is Captain Planet and the Planeteers. The most important thing on this box, though, is the little Mindscape logo. Similarly to BAM and Game Mill, Mindscape was also a licensed garbage factory, putting out stuff like the NES Mad Max and Terminator games, and somehow they also accidentally made Lego Island. Captain Planet seems promising. You got a nice big sprite of his goofy looking ass on the title screen. Then we cut to Gaia telling us what to do for a very long time. You get the point. Go stop people from pooping in the ocean or whatever. Oh, okay. One of those one-hit death kind of games, huh? Yeah, this is NES alright. When you game over, Captain Planet goes the extra mile to show the Earth fucking deteriorating. Like, hey kid, I know your parents think Mario's unethical and you like cartoons, so they bought you this, but here, feel like shit. The Earth is dead, and it's all your fault. Gaia looks so disappointed in us, like we're filthy. The Planeteers is notoriously difficult. It's split into 2 types of modes. There's a side-scroller where you play as the Planeteers, traveling in some sort of weird ship or vehicle where you fight AT-ATs, but a slight breeze will get you killed. I only got past this bullshit once, and then I could bash my head up against a wall forever, or we could whip out the Game Genie.
I love to cheat because I'm a fake gamer. I'm robbing myself of an experience.
So I put in the code for infinite lives, and I couldn't stop dying. When you're moving around as Captain Planet in this gooey death zone, death is inevitable and constant. A little bit of green on the wall, dead. Gas, dead. Slight disagreement with your mom, I'm fucking dead. You know, despite being a superhero who can shift between 5 elements, despite being the alleged hero that the world needs, Captain Planet kinda sucks. Even with infinite lives, I felt like I barely made it through these 2 levels. I'm not sure how someone was or is supposed to get through this game legit. I died so many times just trying to figure out how to get past this ship. Imagine only having 3 lives and having to input the same password over and over. Yeah, no thanks. Ah, shit, I'm stuck. Gotta reset. For real though, this game's kind of fucked up. Showing me elephants stuck in a cage is one thing, cause I can free them. But why would you have Captain Planet enter this tomb of rotting elephant carcasses with bones and bloody poison water? Why? It's really disturbing. Look, Captain Planet's bad. It's not just bad, it might be the worst thing I've played on this channel. A lot of people consider LJN to be the largest trash compactor of licensed garbage on the NES, but Mindscape really stepped on their turf here. It's pretty ironic in the first place that Captain Planet has a physical NES cartridge floating around out there. The American NES cartridge potentially has a ton of free space on the inside. Compared to the petite Japanese Famicom carts, the Americans sure like to to waste a lot of plastic. You know, plastic. It's only one of the largest contributors to pollution on the Earth, and you know this bitch ain't decomposing. Considering this game sucks ass, I can only imagine that hundreds, if not thousands of copies of this were tossed into the trash or directly into the ocean by sad children. Perhaps if the Cap had tried a little harder, his message might have gotten across. More copies might be safely tucked away from the metric tons of plastic waste. The world might have become a greener and safer place. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
Listen, all I'm really saying is that Captain Planet doesn't seem to mind if you want to fuck the Earth. And the power is yours. Yo, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Verve.
Did me talking about Swat Kats make you want to watch some Swat Kats? Because, well, it's a Verve Premium exclusive. You can do that. But what is Verve, you might ask? It's a streaming video service that has a ton of different channels all published as one. Not only do you get the entire library of Crunchyroll, but you also get Rooster Teeth, Boomerang for those classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and even Nick Splat. Verve Premium has this awesome feature where you can view things in offline mode and sync episodes or even movies to whatever portable device you have. That means if you want to take Ao-chan can't study on the go, maybe you can study better than having her being unable to study in your hands. On your phone. Verve Premium gets you an ad-free experience and unlimited access to all of their unique channels. It also helps support this channel, which lets me bring content out to you guys more frequently. It also lets you watch Swat Kats. So hey, head over to verve.co/Austin Eruption to get an ad-free 30-day trial of Verve Premium. It's worth it. That's verve.co/Austin Eruption to get started today. Yo, thank you very much for watching. Special Patreon shout out to Alfredo Ariano, Chase Scott, Chris Shelton, Christopher Olivia, Donald Dowdy, Irrational, Jay Roos, Jackets, Jacoby Fitzpatrick, Josh Garbage Lord, Legend Gary, Nitron, Ronnie Vile, Shintaro, Sodden Gritter, Steven Schneers, and Superfly1787. Thank you very much for watching. Big shout out to the Portly Gamer for all of his help recently and also making a small little cameo in this video. Go check out his stuff. E3's coming up. Expect more stuff. Also, I'm gonna try to use the community tab more. Okay, bye.